monitoring the chat box, although you will not see it on the screen.
Just a minute, Vicki. Time out. Let's see, who is going to be pressing the recording?
It looks like it's pressed. It says record on mine.
Are we recording right now?
Yes, we are.
Thank you. Please proceed. My apologies.
You will get your questions answered at the end of the presentation. You can put them in the chat box and Kathy will be monitoring. Continue to have your mute on until that final time. Thank you for attending this accredited speaker series featuring guest speakers who have earned the Toastmasters Elite designation. Honored for professionalism and outstanding achievements in public speaking, 81 members have now earned the designation since the program began in 1981. Each of our monthly guests speak on topics of their expertise, supporting our goal of becoming professional speakers, and today's webinar demonstrates that. Is your heart's desire to be paid for your speaking? Do you want to know what it takes to get started? Is it time to get serious about the business? In this program, you will explore your topics and potential audiences, understand what it takes to get started, recognize what meeting planners expect from you, start setting your fees, and have a design template to use. Sheryl Roush is CEO of Sparkle Presentations based in San Diego. A top-rated international trainer, she conducted 120 full-day seminars last year in 8 countries on public speaking and marketing. By trade and college degree, she is a commercial artist and has owned 5 award-winning graphic design studios. She has written 5 books on the topic of marketing communication, including the Solid Gold newsletter design book, loaded with sample designs from Toastmasters around the globe. As a professional member of the National Speakers Association, she has received a Member of the Year in 2 chapters. Sheryl earned Toastmasters accredited speaker designation in 1993 and was the youngest and only the 6th female and the 28th overall. She is a past district governor, a recipient of a presidential citation, and is the author of the International Book Awards Best Anthology for the Heart of a Toastmaster. As you can tell, she blends her expertise coaching others, speak and market like a pro. With this program on the 10 must-haves in the speaking business, let's welcome distinguished Toastmaster, past district governor, accredited speaker, Sheryl Roush.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, please, everyone, if you could mute your own audio on your screen down at the bottom there. Again, it's my privilege to be speaking for you, Faculty Club. Thank you for the vision that you have in helping people become professional speakers and accredited speakers. So yay to you. I love what you're doing here. Well, let me tell you a little story here. This is me. Everybody go, "Aw, that's me." Yep, I was about 4 years old, painfully shy. You'd never guess that about me in these days, but I got to tell you, it's all thanks to Toastmasters. But my mother was an Avon lady, and she would drag me on her routes from door to door for the ding dong, Avon lady, Avon calling. And sure enough, that was me. So I got to tell you that I probably learned my communication skills and my ability to speak a bit more confidently starting off, and thanks to Mom on that. I'm still hearing clicking, so if you could please mute your computer, that would be great. Thank you. This is me in high school here locally in San Diego, and I was commissioner of PEP at my high school. I had no idea that I would have to run the huge pep rallies in the auditorium. I had absolutely no idea. 2,000 people. So those were some of my first really big speaking engagements, but just like my icebreaker, probably just like yours, I didn't sleep for 3 days before. I didn't eat, had the nervous stomach, nod your head, all of that. Well, thank goodness, in my experience of being a business owner with my graphic design studios, a woman at the Chamber of Commerce meeting asked me, what's my greatest challenge in having a business? And I said, it is having employees that are all older than myself. And I was taught to treat elders with respect. So she listened to me and she encouraged me to come to Old Town San Diego for a series that was starting on communication skills. That's me. Pat Johnson took that photo years later. My life seemed to have circled back and I showed Pat, oh my gosh, this is where it all started. And it was March 15th, 1987 when I walked through the doors of that Mexican restaurant with the fire crackling in the background, and little did I know that I would have found my voice, found my self-esteem, found my confidence, found my purpose, found my area of service, and how to give back to others. And that program, by the way, is something that we call Speechcraft. So here I am 31 and a half years later, still a member. Part of my journey, and I share that with you, is that if you can get a hold of the printed manuals before they completely disappear and go, everything is electronic, because I would speak at other groups, anyone that would ask me, and hopefully upon my expertise, which is one of the golden gems for you in this webinar. And this one happens to have been at SCORE, where I was teaching design and marketing skills. I would take an advanced Toastmaster with me and my manual to get evaluation. Some of these engagements were paid, even though nominal, they were still paid. There were outside presentations that could count toward my accredited speaker, especially the higher paid engagements on that. And at that time, it counted as an outside speech, because then we also had additional contests between the clubs for outside presentations. So you can double and triple dip, and I'm a strong believer in when you work this program works. So let's jump into the handout. Then that gives you a little bit of perspective about how my expertise in both speaking and marketing have now blended, and how I help other people speak and market like a pro. What I've also determined is that there are certain things that enable us and prove to other people that we are serious about being a professionally paid presenter, whether it be a speaker, keynoter, trainer, workshop, seminars, anything. Even, let's see, we have a couple of ministers who are the accredited speaker designatees as well. And whatever it is that you do, that you get paid as a presenter to live audiences. And at the very end, I'll show you a couple of programs that you might consider taking a look at, in addition to last month's presentation that I did here for your club, a special webinar on earning the accredited speaker. So you want to go back into the archives that are posted on the faculty club site, and there's downloadable handouts to go with that. Page 2 inside of your handout is a sample handout bio that you might consider using. Anytime that you're speaking, utilize it for marketing and becoming more well-known, because it's information like this that you distribute that people will contact you for additional speaking engagements. So over on to page 3, we'll come back to page 2 a little bit later. For page 3, this is a worksheet to help you get started. You may or may not answer all of the questions right here in this particular webinar, but let me get you started and some insights regarding this. Anytime we do any type of marketing, we need to identify these 4 questions. So whether it is that you are promoting your speaking business or any other type of business, your questions are going to be the same. Anytime you're starting a particular project or thinking about having an event. If you're just tuning in, thank you. Welcome to the webinar. Please mute your audio on your computer. So first of all, in identifying your markets, who are your ideal markets, the industries, the audiences, or the potential clients? What are their pains that you can solve? If there are key problems, issues, or challenges, name those pains and be the solution to them. The third question here is, what are your credentials to solve those problems? What is your background, your experience, your expertise? And bottom line, what are the benefits to them of working with you? If you're translating this into a Toastmaster environment, then who are your ideal new members? What are their pains? What are their fears? How is it that your club helps to solve those fears? What are your credentials? As in, it's an established club, it's friendly, it has a diverse group of members who can help mentor you. And what are the benefits? And our benefits of becoming a member are absolutely abundant. So if you're tuning in on your phone right now, if you could please mute on your phone. Thank you. Then the second part of this is, what are your ideal topics? If, granted, as Toastmasters, we want to speak, and when we first start speaking, we will speak about everything. Nod your head. Yeah, that's very true. What we are looking for is, how can we find our expertise in that? And that's one of the things that meeting planners who hire us are also looking for. So this is, again, part of the worksheet that after this webinar, I hope that you really take a good long look at this and think through the answers. You can speak on what topics, whether they're paid or pro bono. So let me explain that word. Pro bono means free, no pay. We would call them showcase opportunities, where, again, maybe you take your speech project with you, you have an evaluator, you get credit for that particular presentation, you get the feedback, and even though it might not be paid, there are still great benefits to you speaking, including practice. And as our accredited speaker, world champion colleague Darren LaCroix would say, it's stage time. So also under ideal topics, you are knowledgeable, experienced, or an expert on what? Now it starts narrowing. I did this process too, that when I first started speaking, I would speak about anything to anyone that would ask me to speak about. As a result of all those presentations that I would give, I found out what I should not be speaking on, presentations to not give. Even though I am a big goal setter, that's not my topic. Even though I'm a time manager, I would not speak on that topic. That's for those experts, people who are productivity pros. That's their thing. I want to stay in what's called my lane. What is my lane of expertise? Because then when I speak on what that is, everything else falls away. What you and I want to be known as the go-to person on that particular topic, that issue, that problem, that challenge. We want to be the first person that they think of. You want to become an expert in that and pull from your background into what is it that you do. My background is advertising, marketing, graphic design, and printing. Well, then that's what I ought to start speaking about. So now as you think through who your ideal markets might be, what your ideal topics might be, now start getting focused on who your ideal audiences might be. Again, this is work in progress and probably will evolve every time that you go back and you look at this worksheet. It might even be that you print out page 3 from this handout and that you put the date on it at the top of the page and go back to it after the fact and really look at it and go, oh, gee, this is how that's changed over the years. So who do you want to speak to? What clients, groups, companies, organizations, even associations. It could be association conferences, by the way. And the bottom line here is, who will pay you to speak on those topics? Even though we might want to speak to particular groups, if they are nonprofit organizations or service organizations, it's great practice. And again, utilize your educational program and practice those presentations. It's still good practice. Some of those organizations may not pay. It may be a free lunch, and that's fine because you're getting the practice. If you want to be a paid speaker, you need to be paid. That makes sense. All right, so that'll give you some ideas. So let me answer some questions here about what's it take to get started. And if we were to open up the lines and if we had a conversation on this, we would have quite a list of what does it take to get started. Let me offer for you some tips on this and perhaps a little bit of compass to start with. First of all, I think we need to have passion. Passion for speaking. We've got to have, I would say, overcome a lot of our fears, build up our self-esteem, build up our area of expertise. So you have to have passion for doing this. You've got to have belief in what you're doing, or don't even get started. That's a rule of thumb for any type of business. You've got to have a core belief in what you're doing. I think it helps to have a good business sense, whether it's street smart or it's book smart or business smart, where you've had experience in other businesses before and you can transfer that knowledge and that experience into speaking, training, coaching, consulting. I think it helps to have a good business sense. Venture capital. Today, it costs less to get started in the speaking industry. When people first asked me, what did it take for me to get started? And keep in mind, this was back in probably 1990, 1993, somewhere around there that I really got serious about speaking for pay. I had invested, I went back and I figured out that in about 10 years' time, I had invested about $80,000 of my money to help create some of the things that I'm encouraging you to do in this particular webinar. Back then, when we did seminars and we needed to have videotape, it would be a 3-camera shoot. And I remember hosting a full-day workshop for women that I had the continental breakfast, the fancy hotel room, the buffet luncheon, and then the afternoon brownies. It took a lot of money to get into the business to learn what I needed to learn. Today, you don't need to have that much, but I am going to, and what this whole course is about, or what are the 10 must-haves that you should have. So make sure to have some reserves, if you will, that you can invest when things come up that you want to invest in, whether to pay a videographer $1,000 for a 2-camera shoot of a full-day program. Check what your local pricing would be. It could even be that you hire someone from one of the local colleges or universities that's in the theater or drama or video arts department, or from a local college. But you need to have some funding available, because you are going to need to purchase some things and, yes, invest in your business. And an area of expertise, again, I cannot stress that enough. These are some of the key things that it takes to get started in the industry. And where we're going to be focusing next is on great marketing. So take a deep breath, and here we go. Here are the 10 must-haves in the speaking business today. This is an overview slide. You'll find them on page 4 inside of your handout. We're going to look at each one of those individually and with visual samples. We lead off with the topics of interest, and then of course we need to have a business card, which is a speaker business card, not just a business card and it happens to say that you're a speaker. You need to have a website, and if it's not the entire website that's dedicated to your speaking business, it needs to be a dominant tab up at the top of your website. You need to have at least one speaker one sheet, and I'll show you different types of them. Basically, it's a flyer that you would distribute or email and or post to your website. It may be one sheet of paper, it may be two-sided on that piece of paper, or it may be more than one of those, as in one per topic. Or you have 2 different markets, you have a speaker one sheet for one market, and you have a different, completely tailored one sheet for your second market. So that's what number 4 is. Number 5, you need to have an email using your domain name. So be very mindful that Gmail, AOL, Yahoo, Whoop-de-doo, any of those are not considered serious email addresses. Now, what you can do, though, is that you can still have your Gmail forwarded from, or that you send your outgoing messages from. Like I have Sheryl at SherylRoush.com, and my website is Sheryl Roush. I also have Sheryl at SparklePresentations.com. Again, your name at that domain name. Number 6 is probably the greatest challenge for us as Toastmasters, because we do love to speak, which is often for free. We need to start somewhere in creating a fee schedule if we want to be a paid speaker. Number 7, great content and polished delivery, and I bet you know what I'm going to talk about there. Number 8, you need to have a social media presence, which means all of the platforms you can possibly be on. Number 9, you need to have products, which also creates your expertise. People view a speaker who has written a book as an expert in that particular topic. My suggestion here is to write the book and speak on that topic for a lot of different reasons. Number 10, that's going to bring us to audiences. This is an overview slide. Now you know where we're going. So let's take each one of those at a time. Feel free to add notes to your handouts. If you don't have the handouts, go back to the Faculty Club website and download them. They're right there by the link to this webinar. Here are some of the evergreen topics, if you will. These are topics that will always be needed by audiences, and these are paid for. These are topics that meeting planners will book you to speak on. Business could be different types of business. It could be women in business, entrepreneurs, small business, starting a business, anything regarding business management. So that has its own umbrella. Change, anything about dealing with change. Again, that's always going to be a hot topic. Communication, finance, health and well-being, which nutrition fits into that category. Leadership, sales and marketing, technology, and of course, common trends. Right now, it's anti-bullying and harassment, diversity and inclusion, which I should probably add diversity and inclusion up here as an evergreen topic. And of course, generational topics, because we have millennials, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen whatever is going to be next, and then us baby boomers and our traditionals. So right now, there's 5 different generations working in the workplace, and we're not all getting along. That's going to be an evergreen topic. So look at these. To give you some idea, there are 2 right now I can guarantee that you can speak on. Communication and leadership. You got it. So you could start right there if you want to know where to start. Now, create a business card that could be your speaking business card. So for instance, here's, I call this my goofy green shot. Let's see, we don't really have photos on today's agenda, but it goes with your marketing materials. Here's a quick tip about when you go for a photo shoot. Take music with you on a CD that you can play loud to capture you moving and very expressive, and have your photographer just shoot away, click, 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 click. And this happens to be one of those fun shots. And if you're wondering what my music was that day, Shania Twain, and that song was Let's Go Girls, do, 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 do. Anyway, that song. So take some music that you're going to move to and have some fun to. Why a photo on your business card? This is often a common question right here, is because meeting planners want to imagine, envision, what would it be like to have you speak for their audience? And they're looking for a match. Basic meeting planners, whatever that we want to call them. It could be the VP of Professional Development. It could be the speaker chair at a Rotary, whoever that might be, or the HR director inside of an organization. They're looking for a match. This is a matchmaking game. They need a speaker for a particular need on a particular date and time to solve these particular issues. You want to be that one for their match. So again, that's the value of having a photo on your business card. This is a 2-sided business card. I'll show you the reverse in just a second. So here's what I've done is I've identified their needs. Remember to name the pain. Name the pain, and I hand it back in the form of a question that relates and creates relevance to the meeting planner. Need to boost morale? Yes. Overcome negativity and reduce stress? Yes, we do. Improve service, sales, and communication? We do. Check, 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 check. Boy, this is going to be the speaker for us. Then what is it? Inspirational presentations that do what? This is part of my unique selling proposition. It took me quite some time to create that. What I stand for is that I rekindle the spirit, raise the bar, and create excitement. That's everything that I do. I call this a signature business card because I chose a fancy font. This one happens to be Vivaldi script. And keep in mind, I'm a graphic designer of over 45 years now, so fonts are my friends. Then I put my name in that special font. again, not a logo, but something that does look different. Speaker, author, Sparkle Toot Expert, because people are hiring me for that particular trademark, which there is a book on that topic. Then a call to action called Sparkle Presentations Inc. So then people start getting the sparkle, they get the sparkle, they get all of this to schedule. It's called a call to action, and then the toll-free phone number. Here's the backside of that particular business card. Keep in mind that that is prime real estate. So if you are not printing anything on the back of the card, or if you're concerned because people like to make notes on the back of the card, just give them extra space where they could. But you need to use that real estate to let people know what to hire you for. In my particular case, for an energizing opening, a luncheon, closing keynotes, conference, workshops, seminars, and retreats, as in I can facilitate and design curricular development over the entire retreat, and tailored on-site interactive training. That's very clear in what I do. And then the contact information and where they can preview topics and videos. And the front side of that card is laminated, so it's slick, it's glossy, but the back side of it is not, so people could write their own notes. Here's an example which is included in your handout on page 7. Yvonne Ortega is one of our colleague Toastmasters who turned pro. So Yvonne Ortega is over out of Yorktown, Virginia. And I started working with her to go from speaking for free and from Toastmasters into speaking professionally. She had a website, so I started with the filigree, and you'll see that in just a minute, from her website, and then created a matching business card to go with her website. The tip that I'll share with you here is in any of your marketing materials, make sure that they are congruent, that it looks like they match. This is the front of the business card, and the reverse about seminars, workshops, and retreats, and her contact information, plus a call to action on that. Number 3 is the website. So again, that's where I pulled the design from to create her very custom business card to match. And again, she has questions that are on the website. This is also in your handout, again on page 7 of your handout. Number 4 is a speaker one sheet. And notice it now, it matches everything else in her set. It matches the website, matches a business card. And this is a great model utilizing the template that I'm suggesting, which is on the next couple of pages, for you to follow, especially if you're starting a speaker one sheet for the very first time. I'll give you more details on that. Again, we're in the top 10 interview. So often the question is here, what do I do with the one sheet? Well, right there, just like it is on Yvonne's website, you click here to download it. I can't tell you how many times that I've been hired over another speaker because my one sheet is right there, easy to find. Click download. They can email it out to the committee members. Everyone's on the same page, as opposed to trying to cut, paste, drag, put the information into a Word doc. Nothing seems to work when you copy and paste from a website. So you know what I'm talking about. Make it easy to get hired. Anything that you can do to create that. Number 5 on the list of 10 is the email with the domain name. Here's Yvonne's sample, where it's Yvonne at YvonneOrtega.com. She also has the .net. So she grabbed both of those. And if you were to go to both of the websites, they are slightly different from each other, by the way. Number 6 is the fee schedule. So I've started you out with a few ideas. Down here at the bottom of page 4 inside of your handout, you'll actually see this section here. And I encourage you to think about this again more as you go forward. It seems to be the area where most speakers who have been presenting pro bono for free have the greatest issue with. And here's why. And advanced seasoned veterans have the same issue, by the way. So I believe that what they have in common is that our self-worth is attached to the dollar sign. So this might be something that how you start setting your fees is you look at what is your depth of your experience, your expertise, and your credibility. How not to think about this is, here's what I charge for 1 hour, as if it were your salary at work if you have a real job. It's not what your hourly would be if you are coaching or consulting. Those are different rates. You want a different rate for speaking because let's say, for instance, that you've been in your industry, whatever your industry may be, let's say it's law enforcement, and that you have been in law enforcement for over 30 years, recently retired, and you want to become a professional speaker or trainer and available for events. You're not being paid for that 1 hour like you had been in the past. You're being paid for those 30 years of experience, those 30 years of on call, of handling crisis, of conflict management, of communication, of leadership, of media interview skills. What that huge list starts growing. 30 years of experience presented in 1 hour. Now, what's that worth? My suggestion is that it has a comma in it. So I would suggest that as you're getting started, so for instance, create something that you put up on your wall. And I did this because the area that I stumbled most at the beginning of going from free to fee is that I stuttered and stammered over how much I was charging. Practice saying it. Practice saying, I am a professional speaker and I'd be happy to quote you on my speaking fees. Anytime that you say I'm a speaker, people assume that you're free, especially in our organization, because we are. However, make the transition from utilizing everything that you've learned and the skills that you've polished up in Toastmasters and take it out into the real world and get paid for that experience, that expertise. All right, so you get where I'm going with this. Make yourself a little sign and put it up where you're going to see it. Maybe it's in the bathroom mirror. Maybe it's in your office on that particular wall. And put up what your fees are. Now, granted, when you quote fees, there's a lot of variables. And Kathy and Deborah, this may be a whole nother webinar of 20 to 30 minutes, by the way, just setting up how do you determine what your fees are. There's a lot of variables in that. Number 6 on the list of 10 is you need to know what your fees are and be ready to quote them. Number 7, have great content and polished delivery. So my tip here is maximize Toastmasters. Oh my gosh, get a hold of the advanced communication manuals in print wherever you can before they are no longer available in the inventory. Check online to see that item number 226Z as in zebra is available and get the entire communication set. It's still only $75. And get as many of these as you possibly can and utilize these and do these projects more than once. In your Pathways program, again, really embrace what the paths are, especially the presentation mastery. Do them more than once. And every time in the new Pathways that you're starting a new path and you have an icebreaker to give, do something different where maybe that icebreaker in 5 to 7 minutes is part of your signature speech. Kathy and Deborah, make a note, that's a whole nother webinar. A signature speech is something that you can put into any presentation and it's the core of what your presentation is. And then you can be practicing that. Again, the success communication and success leadership manuals are outstanding. When I realized that I wanted to be a professional speaker, and again, when you work this program works. I had earned 10 CTMs. Remember those? That was the Competent Toastmaster. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for helping me remember those. And then I earned 8, it was 15 advanced Toastmasters. So the bronze, the silver, and now the gold, 15 of those. Then I also earned my first CC. Yay. So I'm a competent communicator too. Anyway, that if you're going to be a speaker, then you need to speak. And our program has such incredible structure in everything that we've done. If you're still fussing with Pathways, get over it and get into the material and get the practice. That's all I'm going to say about that. Number 8 of the 10 is to have a social media presence. And here I provide you the social media outlets for accredited speakers. If your goal is to become a professional speaker, pursue the accredited speaker designation. And whether you pass or not, the journey to it will absolutely have been worth it. Follow us on Facebook at Toastmasters Accredited Speakers. On LinkedIn, we are accredited speakers. We have our own group. And we're also on Twitter. So you can follow us anywhere. If you'd like questions answered, probably the best place for you to reach out to us is at Toastmasters Accredited Speakers on the Facebook page. So please join us and follow those conversations. And while you're pursuing accredited speaker, there are 2 designated websites, toastmasters.org/membership/accredited speaker, or you can go to toastmasters.org and do a search on accredited speaker, and that'll pull you right there. And then accreditedspeakers.com has been created and maintained by those of us who have earned the designation. It is sanctioned and approved of by World Headquarters. These are the 2 places to follow for anything accredited speaker related. Also on accreditedspeakers.com, you will see abundant resources by many of us that have contributed to that regarding different articles. There's books to download, all of it for free. So Ed Newman, thank you very much. You are a returning member to Faculty Club and to Toastmasters in District 9. Welcome back. So you had submitted this sample to me, and I offer the following feedback. Based on now you understand that what meeting planners are looking for, and this is right off of the new website that you and the other 4 gentlemen are creating, is now it needs to be put into something a little bit more downloadable. And we're going to talk about, let's see, let me give you a couple of tips regarding there are 3 different reading audiences in marketing. One are the non-readers. So for instance, I would convert into a non-reader here because it's blah, 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 and I don't know what I'm supposed to read about it. The second group reads everything, and that's 10 to 15%, just like the first group, that they will read every single thing, and if any of the punctuation, grammar, anything's off, they're the ones who are going to lovingly give you that feedback. And the third group are the skimmers. 70 to 80% of us are skimmers. We need bullet points. We need short body text. We need headlines and subheadlines. And that's what we need. So Ed, thank you for sending me your sample. And I realize that this is in the works. My tip is to now think about, so far what I've said in the first 35 minutes of this, then pay attention to the rest of it and create your dynamic marketing pieces that will get you hired. So thank you. This is a very good start, and it's similar to what's on your LinkedIn post. Number 9, you need to have products. These happen to be Yvonne Ortega's books. And since since the sample in your handout, she is now a 4-time published author. So these are only 2 of those 4. What I've included for you too in the handout is to give you an idea of some of the products that I have created specifically for Toastmasters, and it's specific to this topic. So with number 9, how you would use this, how this relates to you, is an example of anytime that you are speaking, how are you maximizing the engagement? When you have a fantastic topic that you are an expert in, and that you only give the 20-minute, 40-minute, 60-minute speech, and you walk away, whether you're paid or not, sometimes audiences feel let down. Well, how do I find out more? How can I work with you? How can I hire you to speak to other groups? They're looking for more. Always give them more. In this particular case, you can see this is a DVD. It's a 2-volume set specifically filmed for the National Speakers Association, that it has 4 hours of exactly how to design speaker marketing materials. If you're interested in becoming an accredited speaker, you can order the thumb drive that's loaded with 14 accredited speakers, all of the marketing material, all of the handouts, and the full audio recordings from a program that I hosted. My corporation covered all of the expenses, and it was at cost for the attendees to come the day before the Vegas convention started, all with approval by World Headquarters. So this program and the thumb drive are absolutely approved by World Headquarters. You can also have one-on-one coaching with me. My regular coaching rate is $300 an hour. Any of my Toastmaster family, it's half price. It's half price. So if you would like an hour with me on anything, and the time never expires, and it's only per minute. So if you have 46 minutes that you still have the balance of that to use at another time. And then what I recently did, you might be familiar with, I have a shrink wrap bundle of 4 items here that's for $150, but I put everything just recently, brand new release, is the Speak and Market Like a Pro thumb drive for only $97. So you would do something similar for any of your speaking engagements. If you have one thing, or if you offer coaching or consultation, offer something. How can people continue getting to know you and build what their products are? So for instance, the Solid Gold newsletter design book was originally created for Toastmasters and carried in the supply catalog, because it is specific to newsletters and marketing materials for Toastmasters, but I couldn't use a logo on that because of trademark infringement, but TI has since utilized it in the supply catalog. And there's the video. There's the workbook and the CD. So to give you an idea, you can capture whatever it is that you have, interviews, and do whatever, you have some type of resources that are available for people. Again, and make it simple. Make it very, very simple. Number 10 on the list of 10 are audiences. And again, we love to speak, but it sure helps when there's people that are right there in the room with us. All right. So as an example of that, and for instance, in some of the PowerPoints that I do when I'm opening up a session, is that I will include logos used with permission by those organizations of some of the clients that I have addressed. When I first started, though, let me tell you what I did. You know those comment sheets that we get for our feedback forms at our club meetings? When people filled out the comment forms, I didn't have any of this to start with. So when people would give great testimonials, then I would ask them if I could quote them using that with their name and where they work and what their work title is. Every time I asked, they always said yes, and often they would improve what it was that they wrote. So in my particular case, starting off, it would say audiences include, or testimonials from audience members, so that it still has complete integrity as you are starting and as you are building your particular list. To recap the 10, we covered the topics of interest. You're already getting some ideas. Add to that what your expertise is. Business cards, 2-sided with a photo. You want to have a website that your number 4, your speaker one sheets can be downloaded on, with the email and the domain name, a fee schedule. Got to start somewhere. If you're just getting started, it might be without a comma, but build up as quickly as you can to a comma. Otherwise, you're not seen as a true expert in the industry. It's not taken seriously. So make that be your goal, to have a comma with that $sign. Number 7, keep practicing and polished delivery in your club meetings and get outside the club and speak. Number 8 is the social media presence. Be everywhere. Number 9, products. And number 10, audiences. So let's understand a little bit more about the business. Down at the bottom of page 4, what meeting planners expect from a speaker. So let me offer for you some insights. And I work with speaker bureaus who, from my fee, they collect when they book me anywhere from 25% a commission. So I work with those types of meeting planners. I work with HR directors inside of corporations. I work with the program chair from the Rotary. So it's across the board. And here's what I can share with you they have in common. Meeting planners expect professionalism from you at all times, which would be a rapid response. Anytime anyone is inviting you to speak, the answer is yes, figure out how. If you're not available for that date, figure out what their next availability is. So professionalism at all times. Be easy to work with. I refer to this as being low maintenance. So I'm a low maintenance but a high delivery speaker, where I show up, I am self-contained, I'm independent, I have backups for everything. For the laptop, I have my slides as a PowerPoint, I have it backed up as a PDF just in case the technology doesn't work. I have 2 or 3 different remote controls. I'm there early, I stay late, I have a pre-programmed questionnaire. I want to know a lot of details about the audience. What are their needs, their expectations, expectations, their challenges, because everything that I do is highly tailored. And I'm known for that in the industry and throughout Toastmasters. So be easy to work with, quick reply to their needs, and make them look good, especially if this is their job. Maybe this is the very first time that they are the conference chair. Find ways to make them look good. Put their mind at ease. Let them know when you're on site. First thing, I was speaking in Denver, Colorado last weekend for their fall training expo, and I let the district director know as soon as I was at the hotel and checking in. And her mind was at ease. It's like, okay, no issues. It had snowed the week before. The roads were clear. All was good. Still, things can happen on flights, whatever, delayed, detoured, whatever. Let people know. Let people know. So pay attention with them. They want you to do your job, which makes their job a heck of a lot easier, which also helps ensure that you'll be asked back again. So those are the 10. Now let's take a look at that one sheet specifically. Professionally designed materials. Give you some visual examples. So this is page 2 inside of your handout. Anytime that you are speaking, I strongly encourage having a handout of some type. Have something in their hands. This one happens to have information. This is specific to Toastmasters. Again, tailored to the audience. There's the heart of a Toastmaster book. Here's a call to action and what you're available to speak about. So again, include that. Here's an example of what I call a general speaker one sheet, because it has both a keynote and workshops. So it has both of those on one. This is a two-sided in reality. The back side has testimonials, client listing, and a couple of other things. Oh, and more testimonials. But this is a front side. If you are starting and you don't know where to start with your marketing materials, start with a one-sided one sheet. Just start with one and you can build from there. A couple of the key elements on that, and I'm going to be drawing your attention to page 5 in your handout, where it actually has a sample layout of a one sheet, this particular type of flyer. For the front, page 6 is going to be the back, but let me focus here for a second on the front. And you can see in the template that in the headline that you want to have a question to establish a need to hire you. So for instance, the leading question for me, for my particular audience that this was targeted to, I took their pains in the form of a question and handed it back to them. Are low morale, here what the issues are, low morale, high stress, and poor attitudes. Yeah. And what's the result of those 3? Wow, it's affecting your customer service, productivity, and teamwork. Formed into question today creates a sense of urgency, and they're going to say yes. So this particular one sheet got me hired by a speaker bureau numerous times, and so I got their input on it too. And then for them, for the speakers bureau that books me, then it would have their contact information down at the bottom instead of mine, and that's called bureau friendly. When you're getting started, don't worry about that. Use your own contact information. And speaker bureaus aren't ready to work with you until you are commanding at least $5,000 a speech because of their 25% commission on that. This is an industry specific one sheet. This one is specific to healthcare. So what I've done with this one is even put it in the top color for the healthcare industry, which is a teal green. And then all of the text, all of the bullet points, these are the benefits. This is what the topic is going to cover. And it's funny speaking to healthcare associations and conferences, because it's not about pharmaceutical, it's about attitude, the healthy alternative. Anyway, they have a lot of fun with that one. And then 7 secrets to connect with anyone, which also translates to customer service. And there it is, customer service, productivity, teamwork, same thing, and a call to action down at the bottom. Let's see. Oh, and that's also a two-sided one sheet. You got to see the front of it. For districts that want to invite me to come and be of service for TLI, for district spring conferences, for fall training events and symposiums, I've created a specific one sheet, because these are not necessarily on my website. website is for paid engagements. Toastmasters, we are not paid to present. We are accommodated with our airfare, our hotel, and ground transportation. So in lieu of fee, then we get to promote our products and come be of service to you. So this is kind of like a pick sheet, if you will, for district leaders. And again, it still starts off with questions up at the top, then my name, and notice that the branding. So if you want to speak at Toastmaster events, you might create something similar, or as a proposal to speak at one of your upcoming events. This might be something that you could create for yourself and present it. This is the front side. And then page 2 inside of your handout, just like this, is the back side of it. So again, this is a 2-sided or a 2-page one sheet specific to Toastmasters. Again, tailor it to your audience. Let me show you a couple of before and afters. This is also a fellow Toastmaster, Susan Murphy, out of San Diego, and she's a past president of the American Training and Development, which has now changed its name. But this is the before. Now, it's interesting because people have instant impressions. One of them is based on your marketing materials and whether they look professional or not, determines in their mind what they would pay you for those particular services. So for instance, when Susan first started speaking, for her hour-long presentation, I think it was about $350. I know it, and even though she has incredible expertise as a director of HR, incredible expertise, but her marketing material reflected poorly on her worth. So here's what I did for her, completely redesigned it, and now she has a comma in her fee. So again, it's a perception. Make sure that your marketing materials look at least as good as you want to be perceived that you are. Always go to the high end, have professional materials created. This is Lenora Billings Harris, and when she came to me, this was her one sheet in a Word document. She attended one of my seminars just like you are today, and she says, oh my gosh, I need some help on this. So just like I would research any client that I work with for design and marketing, I do the same with any speaking engagement. So vice versa, then I studied and I went into everything that I could possibly find on her. Now here's what your meeting planners do. Just like I did for her, they will search you using Google. And now they'll search you on Facebook. They will search you on all social media platforms. They want to see how long have you been doing this? Are you established? Are you going to be worth whatever it is that I'm investing to have you speak to my group? Are you the perfect match? What I've found in studying Lenora is that she is a multicultural diversity expert. And in one place, way, way deep inside the website, she had this phrase, the marble lady. And I thought, wow, tell me more about that. She just started laughing. She says, oh, yeah, I use, because no two people are alike. I use marbles in my presentations and the participants receive them. I go, wow, you're sitting on your brand. So here's what I did for her. Notice that she's holding marbles in her hands, and that the entire design is based on that design element. Multicultural diversity expert. Now, not only does she have a fabulous comma in her name, then it's upwards to 5 numbers, including that, and that's not .00. I mean, it's a comma. So that's what we did with her, and she went on to become the first African-American president of the National Speakers Association and our new overarching colleague association called the Global Speakers Federation. So here's the before and after of the backside from the Word doc to the fully branded type of one sheet. I point this out to you so that you can see what can be done. And there may be something that you haven't thought much about, or you've thought a little bit about, and maybe that's your brand. For me, everybody keep calling me the Sparkle Lady. I never tag myself that. People say, oh, you're the Sparkle Lady. Well, then everything that I have, everything that I do is sparkle. I can't help it. Why not embrace it? So my question to you is, what is there something that is unique about you that could be tied into your marketing? And really give it a serious look and bounce it off. Maybe you have a mastermind group or a brainstorming think tank that you can say, hey, I was thinking about this. What do you think? Now, you don't have to, and you don't have to have a logo, by the way. What you need is expertise. Then you need your materials designed in a way that it attracts the readers. There are 3 stages of communication. Stage 1, this is not in the handout. Feel free to write this anywhere. Stage 1 is relevance. In 1 to 7 seconds, the reader is viewing, whether it's in print or online, that they're viewing, does this relate to me? So they're looking for relevance. They're looking for what's in it for me. So stage 1 is relevance. In 1 to 7 seconds, it's that fast. That's why the question's in the headline. Stage 2 is now confirmation, where the reader is skimming through, needing bullet points, needing titles, headlines, subheads, a little bit of biography information. That's stage 2. The photo is either stage 1 or stage 2. Confirmation, the reader's looking for, was I right? Am I correct? Is this our speaker? And we want them to say, yes! Yes, and we want to get booked. Then stage 3. Oh, so stage 2 takes up to 90 seconds. Stage 2, where they're skimming through, they're converting from a skimmer into a reader. They'll look at the front, they'll look at the back side, and then they go into stage 3, which is the call to action, or the action area, which is why on both sides of your one sheet, you would have your call to action. Just in case only one page gets to the meeting planner, or they only print out one, or their printer ran out of ink, you've got to have your call to action. Stage 3 is action. And the time available with that stage is as long as needed, because then they're going to go back, reread, see if they missed anything. Maybe they'll give you a phone call, they'll pop you a text, or they'll send you an email asking for more details and more information. If you are just starting your very first one sheet, start with doing a one-sided and combine the basic 6 elements, where you have the headline, your photo, a short biography, what your presentations are, testimonials, and your call to action. Those are the basic 6. As you evolve in your business, consider some more branding. It borders, though, be really careful between cute and clever. You want to go toward clever and memorable. So again, on page 7, then these are the samples from Yvonne Ortega, both with her one sheet and with her business cards. So you could use the model of the one sheet pages and start crafting something today, tomorrow, and then maybe at your next club meeting that you hand it to an avid reader, someone who's a great proofreader, and run it by them. And what you're looking for is, does this make sense to you? Would you hire me? How much would you expect to pay me for an hour presentation on my expertise? And if they can't answer those questions, first of all, ask somebody else. But then if they can't answer these questions, then maybe it's not clear enough. Again, make it easy to be hired. Make it easy to be found. So here's some examples of my own and part of my evolution, because my very first one sheet was only black and white. Yeah, it was, because we couldn't afford color printing back then. So this is one of my websites, and at that time my cousin, who was then 14, designed it, and it was the very first website that he ever designed. Come to find out, he's now a bigwig. They call him evangelist at Microsoft. Go figure. Started with my website, and it was animated, so the S, was very sparkly, and you can still go to Sparkle Presentations. It's still live, and it has updates along the way. Well, what was interesting is that my market with the purple thought that I was a female comedian. Thank you for the compliments. I'm not. And I would not even dare to even put that into marketing, because then people really expect you to be funny. No, I'm a high content, highly tailored delivery kind of person, sprinkled with humor, but it's lighthearted. but I would not say that I'm a humorist. So then I listened to my market and I realized, wow, in order for me to have greater credibility, I needed to change my color scheme. And blue, for me, this is my secondary color, as you can see then it gives me more credibility for what I'm doing. And it was interesting too, because before people thought that I would speak only to women audiences. Now, yeah, I'm clearly an audience that is diverse for gender and industry, and there's, anyway, very, very diverse, if you will. So website video clips, if I were to add a number 11, or to put this into what our website is on number 6, then you need to have video clips. What your meeting planners are looking for, again, is the match. So all of these, and they have this cover photo is what it's called. And these, again, I took my fun music with me and I'm dancing away in the studio, and my photographer just kept snapping. You know, for the pink one down here, it's magenta actually. She's up on a ladder and I'm looking up, which also makes me look very thin. So I really like that type of approach to photography. But it's got to be you. Don't have old photos. You need to have new, current photos. And so each of these video clips demonstrate for different topics, different audiences. And when a meeting planner calls and says, oh, can I send a video clip link to my client, or can my committee see you in action, you better have some video clips someplace. Make a note on here that you really ought to, with your social media presence, you need to have a YouTube channel, which I do. So you want to create a YouTube channel and keep uploading so that people can go directly to your site. I think Darren LaCroix probably has the most amount of YouTube videos I've ever seen of any speakers ever anywhere. So check out, he's got some great programs on how to do videos as well. So this is my new business card too. So it indicates that I am an accredited speaker. It's a 2-sided business card, and it's a dual purpose business card. So this side is for speaking, schedule me to speak for your event. Here is my coaching, so Speak and Market Like a Pro, for speaker training, marketing design, and publishing support, including workshops, retreats, boot camps. I show these samples to you to give you some more visual representation, and to also show you the congruency of everything with the sparkle type of logo, that it has the same type of feel to it, that everything matches. For an email signature, and this is a really long email, but it is for my coaching website, Sheryl at speakandmarketlikeapro.com. So when I'm promoting that, then that is a clip. It's a JPEG inserted into the bottom of the email. So that gives you a lot of ideas. And we're going to be opening up for questions here in just a minute. So as a recap with this, in this session, you've gained insight into the business. From my 30 plus years, hopefully this will jumpstart you into getting paid as a speaker. You've also now have a greater understanding of what it takes to get started, to be serious, and to be perceived as serious in the industry. You've seen samples. I didn't even count of how many samples that there possibly are of different professional materials. And I'll give you a couple of resources here in a second if you want to even see more. You also have a template. You have two pages of a template to get started on, that if you were to do nothing else today, you could get started on your marketing materials. So let me offer for you, I thought if I were you and I wanted more from this, one of the subscriptions I strongly encourage you to get, which is a free subscription, is SpeakerNet News. Go to their .com. It's a free email. I want to say that the newsletter comes out once a week, but it might be every other week, loaded with short clips of information regarding all kinds of diverse topics on the speaking industry and traveling, and different deals that are available for travel, or different resources that you would be interested in. You can also go to speakernetnews.com into the massive archive of webinars and teleseminars. This site and the newsletter and everything involved here is by two of the most highly revered members of the National Speakers Association, very tapped into everything globally, international regarding the speaking business. So it's Ken Braley and Rebecca Morgan, and they're absolutely fabulous in what they present here. If you need to watch a webinar or listen to a teleseminar on a particular topic, go and check their catalog first to see, and it's nominal fees for any of those. So it's subscribe to the free email newsletter right away. The second one is on the 9th of October, I did for GoPro Speakers Club out of District 99 in Canada, an entire webinar on speaker one sheets only. So you can locate GoPro Speakers on Facebook and go into their archives and find out the link for that particular webinar. And on September 17th, also out of Canada, Keystone Speakers, which is a club like yours dedicated to helping people toward professional speaking and the accredited speaker designation. And they do have a newly minted accredited speaker, Greg Wood, in their club, that they asked me to do a webinar only on the accredited speaker judging process, and all the forms are included in that particular handout. So again, you can locate them on Facebook and watch that particular webinar as well. So those are additional resources that I would encourage you to check out for more information on these topics. So that brings us to question and answer time and the 10 must-haves in the speaking industry. So with that, let's go ahead and open up the gallery. And what questions do you have for me? What have I not yet answered? Who'd like to start?
Okay.
Go
Hi.
ahead. Maria?
Yeah. I was wondering, see how you have the Sheryl at SherylRouse.com? How can we get that extension instead of like AOL or Google?
GoDaddy.com. Make sure to register, well, or any hosting company. So that happens to be the one that we're most familiar with is GoDaddy. DADDY.com. And I think it's about $10, maybe $15 a year to have the domain. Then you can snag that domain and check out GoDaddy. They have different offers that you would pay for creating a very simple website or create your own website, whether it be in WordPress or Kajabi is the newest platform people are moving to. That's a whole nother topic. But then when you register with GoDaddy for the domain name, you can have, I think it's 5 or 6 free email accounts. So then, and I won't get into the technicality of it here, but you get, let's say Maria at, and then whatever your .com is, then you start using that, and in the back office, you can forward your email to your Gmail. So you can do that, but then you have more of a presence. And as soon as you can, though, have something up for a website because people are going to be looking for it. We're pretty smart. It's like, oh, that's your, and they go and look, and you don't want to have under construction. Get something up there at the same time that you do it. So great question, Maria. Thank you. Who else has a question?
This is Kathy. I have a question about what if your topics are really, really different from each other? Like
how really, really different are they, Kathy?
Well, I'm thinking, I mean, I don't know that I'm ever really going to get into professional speaking, but if I were, one of the things, my expertise is in job search and career. But what I'm really into right now is being an Airbnb host.
Those are two very different topics. Okay, I got it. Okay, then you would use this process for each of those individually, not on the same sheet.
Okay.
You could have a website that is kathyhansen.com or kathyhansenspeaks.com, whatever that you'd like there, and you could have a tab for each of those topics.
Okay.
You could do that. But have one sheet, and everything that you write is going to be tailored for that market, that audience, that topic.
Okay.
You can still do it.
Good. Thanks.
I got a question.
Yes, thank you. Ed?
Right now, I have newmanspromotions.com as a registered website. Is that good enough, or should I try and get Ed Newman's or ednewman.com? Because I think when I tried to get that 4 or 5 years ago, it wasn't available. That's why I went with Newman's Promotions.
Right, which is interesting, Ed, because I was confused, and something we don't want to do is to confuse the market.
Right.
Newman's Promotions, I thought it was specialty advertising.
It was when I got it started.
Oh, okay, then that was good. Now it's not. All right, well, good question. So see if you can even put Ed Newman Speaks and see if that's available. Sometimes adding another word, then you can get it.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could chime in there, I have a website, KatherineHansonPhD.com, because even though the spelling of Catherine is unusual, there was already a KatherineHanson.com. So I just threw in the PhD to make it different.
Could be. I would not know what to hire you for, though.
Right.
Although it's always good to have your name. Yeah. I even registered for my nephew and nieces years ago and have paid the annual renewals just to make sure that they have their names when they want them for their own websites.
Yeah. Good point.
Find one that indicates what it is that you do, if you possibly can. You know, the PhD is probably okay, and then have tabs. Also, too, can it be something shorter that people can remember and spell correctly? In my particular case, I also got all the wrong spellings of my names. Well, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Yep. Okay, thank you, Kathy. All right, other questions?
This is Victoria, and when you're contacting people about speaking, is it better to make the phone call, send an email, send a personal letter through snail mail? How is the best way to go about contacting?
Thank you. It's a great question too. I think it depends on what level inside the organization are they, and how would they prefer to be contacted. Generally, the speaker bureaus and meeting planners that I work with, they appreciate an email first to then discern whether to have a phone call or not. Snail mail, though, I would use it for sending a postcard. Remember when we used to do that? I think we're going to circle back to it because now everything comes electronically. Wow, anything that comes through the mail, we're kind of surprised. It needs to be fantastic, though. It needs to have photo on one side, probably a laminated paper on one side. It's called coated single side, and then not laminated on the reverse side. And it's got to have some incredible copy, because now you're looking at 10 seconds for front and back. And does it relate to me, or can I recycle it?
Okay. Thank you.
It's a good idea, though. It's a good idea. Have a plan. Have a strategic plan. And sell benefits, name their pain, and address that you are the solution to their problems. Good questions. Yeah, good questions. Thanks. Are you blown away with this? Are you like, oh my gosh, my head's swimming?
I think you must have been very comprehensive, Sheryl, because there were not even any questions in the chat box. So either everybody's just overwhelmed, or you were just very thorough.
Oh, thank you.
Sheryl, this is Jennifer. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm looking for you in the gallery. Go ahead.
Okay. I am curious to know, as far as when you talk about name the pain, and you touched on a little bit of the issues early in the presentation that we might target to look at, and you mentioned the communication and leadership one. I am really wanting to speak on workplace bullying, and specifically with middle management, and I have developed a presentation to support that. I have a book I wrote that was specifically targeting cosmetologists that I think I want to convert that more into, because it touches on workplace bullying within the salon. And I'm thinking that I need to convert that over to actually middle management and workplace bullying, and using
Yes.
parts of that, because what I found was what I really wanted to talk about was this part, but I ended up writing a book about this part. And then I tried to merge the two of them, and that did not work out very well.
Right.
So
You're right on the mark. So repurpose the book. That's what it's called. Repurpose it to your new niche market.
Okay.
You have a hot topic for a niche market. Write the book and speak on it. And I would love to work with you on that, because you're sitting on 25 grand contracts, by the way, so don't think of it as a speech, because my intuition goes in, I see the book, I see that the book is really well received, that it needs to go printed, print on demand, Kindle, and that as part of a training contract, that it's the book, it's training, it's consulting, it's different levels inside the organization. You're looking at potentially a $25,000 contract for who you are, what you do, and it's got to be tailored from the get-go. Got to be tailored.
Excellent. Well, my book right now is exactly what you're talking about. It was published through Balboa Press, which is part of Hay House, and you can order it on Amazon. You can order it through Barnes and Noble, and you also have the Kindle version of it. So but of course I spent a lot of money going through that, and I'm curious if I could have gone a different route and not spent so much. So I'm intrigued with you offering to work with me on that and seeing a larger picture than, because right now I'm very narrow. My vision is this big.
Okay. So you want a bigger vision with a tighter niche.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Good.
Okay.
Good for you. Good for you. Thank you. Other questions? Well, then let's do this. If we could go through and announce yourself and what you gained from this program and what you're doing next. What's your action step? Go ahead. All right.
My name's Karen, and what I've gained from this is not so much that I want to be a professional speaker, because that's not who I am, but rather from the other side. I am the president of my local accounting chapter, and it's my responsibility to find seminar speakers. So seeing how a professional speaker should be presenting themselves to us
oh my gosh
is very relevant, because it helps me separate, who's a genuine professional speaker that I need to consider what they have to offer seriously, versus someone who's just looking for a little extra cash on the side.
Exactly.
And they do not have the credentials and capability of providing what my accounting members need.
Wow. Karen, thank you. Oh my, that's great. Thank you.
Like Karen, I have no desire to become a professional speaker, but I do lead a lot of workshops, and it's made me think about cleaning up my workshop flyer.
Oh, there you go. Well, and Vicki, thank you, because you could design a flyer. Your whole flyer could be based on what the front page is of the one sheet template.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That template's fantastic, and I will be using that notion. I've not done a lot with graphic design, but I'm beginning to understand the importance. This is the last piece that, I don't know if I can get it in there.
Oh, I can see it. Sure.
Yeah, so I'm a weaver, and I also do water law. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how those two come together. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, Vicki. Thank you. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's go through the gallery then, and let's see. It looks like, Victoria, you're next on the gallery.
Great, thank you. It has been full of very valuable information. I have just been starting to brand myself and my speaking. And so this has really given me an opportunity to really hone in on what I need to be focusing on. And I appreciate that and all of your tips.
You're welcome. Thank you. And Karen, you let us off. So let's go over to Kathy then. Kathy?
I would say that I will be using this information to help at least one friend who's really interested in professional speaking. I've done a lot of writing, editing, and design work and website stuff, and I think I can be helpful to someone interested in the business through
Great.
your tips.
Thank you. Thank you. And also encourage other people in your district that maybe aren't a member yet of this club about this webinar. You know, serve them as a mentor too. So thank you. Whoops. Okay. Looks like great. All right. So we're still in the gallery. Go ahead. And let's see here.
This is Mitchell.
Yes, Mitchell.
Okay, what really is, it's not a shotgun approach. You have to be very direct. So I'm going to comb through or sift through and find those most expensive kernels and really focus on that. Because I kind of have a shotgun approach right now and really need that centralized focus on what can I have the pub. And so I ask you a question.
Okay, good.
In my head, I want to pull 2 or 3 people that know me well and know my speaking well and say, sit them down and say, what do I offer that you see that I ought to promote to the world?
Well, what's your background?
Oh, wow. My work background is wide and varied, but if I were to really focus on it, it really would be inspirational.
Inspirational what?
Don't pin me like that right now, because I'm going to have to sit down and comb through
That's
this.
my job. That's my job to get you to specifics.
Yes, but as you're going here, I'm saying, wow, you have a lot of subjects that you have spoken on, and you're really going to have to narrow it down and stick with these 2 or 3.
Could be
and
5.
Really lift those.
It could be 5.
Could be 5.
Could be 5. You know, Mitchell, you really ought to bring me to speak at your spring conference so that I can be answering these questions. Oh, that's right.
You know, that's a good idea. I'm going to talk to. I'm a subordinate, so I will have to speak to my superiors.
I love it.
I think they will agree with you.
Good answer. Good answer. All right. Well, we'll get back to you. All right, Deborah, for you. Either what's a golden nugget from this webinar, or what's your next step? What's your action step?
Yes, I think I love the figuring out what is my lane, because I like to think of myself as being this diversified whatever, but I know really when I stick to what I know is my lane, I give much better presentations. It's just that my lane isn't very wide, and so I'm not sure where, but it's just food for thought, and I need to figure out how to either widen my lane or build another lane. And since I'm married to a road engineer, maybe I can do
that. Okay. Fun use of the metaphor. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Ed, for you?
For me, I can see, which is you've reconfirmed, I have to decide whether it's going to be motivational or if it's going to be what my passion is, and it's because of my background, how important communication is in the business world today with leaders and supervisors, because it's non-existent. Everybody's trying to do email, text. They've got to start using their mouth and their eyes and their ears.
So
That's
Ed,
the type of seminar I want to get into.
you can teach skills on communication and be inspirational. It's not either or. We need inspirational speakers who are experts in topics we need.
Well, the only reason I differentiated that is I've had the great pleasure of talking to some 4-H groups on inspiration and motivation, I guess.
You still probably gave them skills.
And from that, I actually had an offer to be a keynote speaker at a college graduation that I had to turn down because it was the same day my grandkids were graduating.
Oh, tough
I
call.
thought, okay, that is a possibility, but I was told I'm in line for next year. So
well, there you go. And what you do is you put it on your calendar.
I have already.
It goes from being a soft hold to a you're on the calendar. Yeah.
Yes,
Good.
I've got. I'm going to follow up with them here in about another month to ask when is going to be the commencement, yada yada yada, so I can remind them of their.
Yes, and often, and here's a good point, is that often meeting planners are booking a year in advance. Yesterday, a speaking engagement came in for March 15th, 2021 for me. That's good planning. Well, and I said, well, because it came in for May of 2021, and I said, would you know the exact date, as dates are booking right now for that month and year? Wow. Really? Immediately came back with, yes, May 15th. Got it. Okay, now you're on the calendar because there's something before and something after. This is a couple years late, 3 years later. Anyway, then people go, oh, really? You create the urgency, which, yes, and it's all true. And it's all true. Okay, we have a guest on the call too. Is that Ron? You're next?
Yes.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Sheryl. Hi, Sheryl.
Glad you could join us today. So what are you going to do as a result of this? Because you're going from one industry, having retired, into now this is what you want to do. So what's the first thing that you're going to do?
Stay connected to you.
Good answer.
I have really enjoyed being with all of you today. And Sheryl, the information that you shared, I've got pages all over my chair and the floor of taking notes because with my background, I'm used to doing that. And I really appreciate your time and the information. It's incredible. And I just keep thinking to myself, the sky is the limit. And I know that if you have the right tools, the right plan, the goals, the right people in place to help you during the journey, there's nothing is impossible. And I really believe that. And so today you generated some excitement inside of me. Of course, I'm a happy guy. I wake up happy every day. But today I appreciate so much just the nuggets and different things that you shared with us. I love one of the things that just jumped off my screen was getting the communication manuals. What a great idea. And of course, we've all been down that road, but why not go back? It makes perfect sense to me. And I also have practiced in the past of going to different places and pulling out one of the manuals, and they'd look at me like, well, what's this? And I go, well, let me explain it to you. And would you mind filling it out? Oh, absolutely. And nobody's ever said, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And it's a great idea. And again, it helps us to stay in the game and to stay polished.
That's true. Good. Thank you. Thank you. And Ron, you'll be interested in the other speakers that Faculty Club has lined up. So every month there is a special session with one of my accredited speaker colleagues. So tune back in, follow it on the website. There you go.
Great.
Yes.
Great.
Good. Okay, let's see. All right, who's next in our gallery? Who else would like to share?
Well,
Yes, Maria, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
You're good. I see you now. Go ahead.
Okay, one thing I'd like to do is explore GoDaddy and look for a new website. I also do a golf tournament once a year. It was my HPL 5 years ago, and then I did it again as an HPL a couple years ago, taking it to another level. So your marketing ideas made me really reflect upon myself I'm kind of curious too. Like when you ask RL, what is your expertise? I'm not sure what mine are, but I'm like him or someone. You know, I'd love for someone to give me that. And a lot of them know me, so I'm like, what do you think of when you think of Maria? I mean,
Wow. So you and Mitchell
Thank
could
you,
be walking
Maria.
around and ask people.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
I know I do photography and the photoshopping. I do a lot of that, so I can do that. And anybody that needs help on their sites,
Oh,
I'm
that's
willing
great.
to
That's
be
great.
there to help as well.
Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Good. Get you going. Okay. Well, all right. Let's see. Liliana, would you like to share?
Sure. I'm not sure if my microphone is on.
It is. I hear you.
Yeah, my camera is not working today. I don't know what happened.
It's okay, but we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I arrived a little late because I thought it was at 2 o'clock and I got involved in a project and that's what I was late. But I do like everything that you have been saying. I took some notes and I wish I could be able to look at the first portion because marketing is very important and focusing on one goal, especially when we are so diversified. And we think, oh, I can do this and that and that. But it's really, when we are speaking about business, it's focused on one main subject. And that's where I am really struggling on two things, and two are totally different. But I will put it like Deborah and everybody else have been saying, I need to analyze a little bit more and do it. I have worked with GoDaddy.com for a few years, and the prices increased a little bit, but I could not get the website up because if I needed another section of software, the prices would go up. So I'm in my search for a different source in my case. So that's where I am, and I really like the ideas, especially for printing. That was the section that I didn't have information. So now I have two more things that I can investigate and keep going.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
It is amazing. I love it.
Thank you, and feel free to watch the archive of this webinar once it has been posted. So
okay.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, who's our Star Wars person? Star Wars.
Hello, this is Jan.
Hi. Oh, Jan Taylor.
I just came in from gardening, so you're not seeing my face right now.
I'm glad you're here. The force is strong with you.
There we go. That's what I much enjoyed this. It's, as you can see, my public appearances is always masked. And I did enjoy the fact that you brought in so much information about marketing and how to brand and how to be consistent with the message you're sending so it's not all over the place. And I think that's very important as we go forward in anything. In my respect, I'm looking at it for how can we use this to help our clubs to grow and to reach out there and get those people. You know, I mean, that's what we have Liliana for, and she's an expert and she's really good. But sometimes us knowing that information helps us to come up with some kind of great idea that is just way out there. You know, just by getting more information, all of a sudden it's just like, oh, this is how we could do that and work the puzzle. Yeah.
Right. And you can certainly apply this for internal and external marketing, for even toward Speechcraft programs, starting series there, for inviting guests to open house demonstration meetings. Tomorrow I'm doing a huge regional webinar for 7 districts in a region regarding marketing specifically in print and online. And all the concepts that you heard from today, you can transfer those to everything inside of Toastmasters, including outside to bring people inside. So good. Thank you. And congratulations on a successful fall event. It was very impressive. Yeah, very impressive. I saw the Facebook posts. That's great. Thank you, Jan. All right, let's see. We have a couple people on the iPhone as well as Ann Davis. So we have a couple more people if you would like to share.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Dan Whitetree.
Hi.
Hi, I couldn't sure. I didn't know how to do the video, so otherwise I do it. My thing is, I may in the future want to be an accredited speaker and a professional speaker. I feel like I have it in me. I'm just at the beginnings of my journey. I've been a Toastmaster for maybe 3 years, 3.5. But I really was excited about what you talked about, speak to your passion, because it just seems like you have to really hone on what you can share.
That's
You know,
true.
you feel passionate about a lot of things, but what can you quality share with someone and get paid for it and enjoy it so that you can continually do it?
Yes.
So that was the part, that means that's the next list to make. What are my passions? Which ones can I translate? The only thing is, I also wanted to know about that one sheet. I sent you a message privately about what is too much. You know, that's something I want to look into, that how much is too much. And I felt like you had a lot of information and I loved it. But that is something I'm going to have to work on, that one sheet, like breaking it down. So it was a little bit of learning and excitement at the same time.
Got it. Thank you. I see your chat here too, which now everybody does because it's a shared screen.
Oh.
But let me go ahead and answer that, because the one sheet isn't supposed to be everything. It's a teaser with enough information to establish your credibility to continue the conversation in the path of getting hired.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I've never expressed it that way before. It's like a business card is a teaser to start a conversation and to have an additional conversation. The one sheet's like that too. Whereas the business card might be the introduction to then asking for permission to send them the one sheet and to the website to see videos. You're creating the conversation, getting closer to helping them make the correct decision, which is to hire you.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. You got it. Any other questions? We're still a few minutes ahead of time, but you can certainly take a break before the rest of the meeting.
Sheryl, this is Mitchell again.
Hi, Mitchell again.
Yes. I want to do workshops. I'm going right now calling them healing workshops, starting off with African American men and then widening it to men in general. And then later on, bringing in women. But my focus is on the healing of men.
Okay. Whoops. Yes?
Well,
Sorry.
that's my focus. That's what's in my head that I want to focus on. Workshops with men, teenage men, uncles, fathers, and my poetry book, I plan on using that as part of it.
Okay, that's a good tie-in. So then, of course, my first question as a meeting planner would be, how are you qualified to be speaking on that topic? And maybe you are, I don't know. That's what the one sheet would help you express.
Yes, and when you come, I do plan on having some time with you. Kathy definitely is aware of some of this, but when you come, I would like to speak with you directly.
Okay, that's in April. So depending on when your healing workshops are, we might have a phone call ahead of time. Yeah.
Sure, we can do that.
Good. Well, all of this is very exciting. You know, thank you again for having me. Thank you very much for creating this series of accredited speakers as your guest speakers. As you proceed into the rest of the series, I know the first session that we did last month was on earning the accredited speaker designation. You will get to see each of my colleagues doing what it is that they do, which I think is really exciting. So talk about expertise, talk about their delivery style. It's different for us to be in an office having a webinar versus being in the room and having that energy exchange. I think it's going to be very exciting for you though. And those speakers that you have selected, Kathy, I think you did great with who they are. I think next month is Ann Barab, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So she's a sweet little Southern belle from Dallas, Texas. So y'all are going to have a great time with her. But wow, so this is great. Kudos to you, especially having this call again right after your fall event this weekend. So thank you. And anyone who's watching this webinar, I would encourage you to go back, watch it again, see what you missed. Again, this is free, take advantage of things like this, where you have experts who are sharing from their area of expertise, helping to solve problems and even anticipating what they might be. So with that, it's been my honor to serve you again. I'm going to stop share, and there is everyone. So this is great. I'll go ahead and sign off, and all the best with the rest of your meeting. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Sheryl. Thank you
Very
very much.
Thanks, Sheryl.
My pleasure. Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye.
So this is the Toastmaster reconvening us after our excellent webinar. Thanks very much, Sheryl, for an excellent webinar.